Well, joining me is the original first Tuesday of the month guest, Ray Lampe. Doctor?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
You are sounding dynamic tonight, Ray.
Well, we had a little test run yesterday, as you know,
right.
and we fixed everything.
We sound really good right now, both you and I. I was just telling everybody at the top of the show how I was doing a whole bunch of file move-overs from one drive to the next, and my Dr. Barbecue thing didn't make it for some reason. So next month we'll have that lined up, and we'll be back to normal with your nurse, Greg Rempe. But many different things to talk about. Missed you in January, so here we are in February. Man, I can't believe we're already in February now, right? So, man, oh man, where do we start? How about the restaurant? I mean, we're a good 3+ months in now, right?
Yep.
Right.
3.5-ish. I don't know, sometime in the middle of October. And yeah, 3.5 months, and things are still going strong. You anticipate a really good start with all the publicity we had, and then you worry about a little dip in there. And so far, knock on wood, no dip. And then we just got Friday, we just were named like one of the top 10 restaurants in Tampa Bay, which was unheard of for a new restaurant and a barbecue restaurant. So hopefully that's going to help us continue the spike. And so far, so good, man. We're having a blast.
What's the publication or the outlet that named you into the top 10?
Tampa Bay Times, which is the big paper for the area.
So
a lot of people don't realize that the Tampa Bay market's the 11th biggest market in the country. I mean, it sort of gets not recognized because there's a couple cities here, and it's you don't think about it, but it's a big market.
How close is St. Pete to Tampa? Because I think maybe unfairly they get lumped right together.
Yeah, we do for sure. We get lumped with Clearwater as well.
Yeah, right.
But we're kind of out. We're the guys out on the peninsula. If you know how Tampa Bay looks, there's a bay there, and it's Tampa Bay, and Tampa is on the inland. Clearwater's up at the top, and we are the peninsula, which is really the nice. We got all the nice weather down here. We got the beaches. There's no beaches in Tampa. The beaches are all in Clearwater and St. Pete, and so we kind of, it's one of them places where there's always a constant little bitch fight between our side is better than yours, but I think St. Pete's the winner.
Well, yeah, it's like here in Cleveland, east side is the best side, or if you're on the west side is the best side. And the west side never crosses over 77, and the east side never crosses over 77. It's like the line of demarcation. So I understand exactly what you're talking about. Ray Lampe joining me here on the show. Ray, so does the restaurant do a lot of marketing, like going out and trying to get on TV stations and social media and all this stuff to keep the name out there? Or is it just organically out there now, and after 3.5 months, it's just growing on its own?
No, both, but no, we're not afraid to do that. Frankly, that's why I was a viable partner for them, because that's what I do. I can get some attention for stuff, and they're really good at it as well. But we also have on staff marketing people. We have a big PR company out of Miami now. We just switched, but we're not trying to do it all organically. We spend money, and we do it very professionally. I mean, it's a different way to do it. To some people, I'm not against trying to do it organically, but boy, you get a big bang when you start spending some money.
Last time you were on, Ray, we had talked about, and the restaurant had really just been open for a handful of weeks at that point, and we talked about, were there items on the menu that you thought were really going to be bang-up hits that might have ended up being misses, and there had been some menu revisions? So let me ask you now, almost 4 months into it, have there been further revisions or adjustments to the menu now?
The only thing we've changed since the first wave is the potato salad. We just couldn't. We tried to make this sort of oil and vinegar potato salad with purple and white little fingerling potatoes, and it was pretty cool, but it wasn't. People didn't want that. For one, we screwed it up a bunch of times early on, but even so, that wasn't what people wanted. They wanted so we started thinking about, okay, we got to do something with this. So we asked Lee, our pit master, and he said, well, my aunt, what the heck was her name? Aunt Tilly or something, has a potato salad recipe. I'll get that for us. So he gets it. And he said, well, I got my mom's version and my aunt's version, and they're very similar. He said, but it's country as hell. And we were like, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. He once described it as a sort of a deviled egg in a potato salad. So now we're very mainstream with that, and people like it again. But that's the only thing, though. Everything else we've sort of left alone. and we're seeing a few things that aren't doing as well as others, but it's really so far so good. I mean, we look like geniuses at the moment. Ask me again next month, but at the moment we look real smart.
Lee Jasper is still invigorated and ready for the task of pitmaster.
Yeah, man, you got to have him on one of these days because he is the
Yeah, I would love to.
He's an obsessed young man with cooking barbecue. He just loves it. There's nothing makes Lee happier than loading the smoker, and he's obsessed with it. And he's getting to be pretty good at talking to folks about it too. So I'll line you up with him.
Ray Lampe joining me here on the show for the monthly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Ray, what's the best comment you've gotten on the restaurant so far? And then conversely, what's the most bizarre comment you've gotten so far?
Well, one of the things that really has struck me as that I didn't think was going to be so cool was when I spent a lot of time touching tables, walking up and asking folks how it's going, and often it'll be like, well, it's my birthday, and I told all my family this is where I wanted to come for my birthday, and I never thought about how cool that would be. Because it's your birthday, man. You get to pick where you're going,
right?
And you've chose our restaurant. That really has been that probably touches me more than anything else. And of course, being named that restaurant top 10 restaurant was like something we didn't see coming. It's very humbling because we put a lot of work into it, and we really thought we did something special. And it's fun to get rewarded, and it was the big paper in the neighborhood, So that stuff's cool. Everybody wants to help you. That drives you crazy. I told the servers when we first were getting ready to open, I said, now, every day you're going to walk up to a table and the person's going to say, I'm from Texas. I know barbecue. And they didn't really understand what I was saying. Oh, I was far short of once a day. It basically every table.
Wow.
Everybody has a story. Well, I'm from Virginia. I know barbecue, or I have a smoker. I cook barbecue too. I mean, on and on and on, every table. But it's cool because most of them like us by the time they get done. And I always think that we are really lucky to be serving something people are so passionate about. I can't imagine if you open a burger joint, everybody walks in with a story about where they ate their best burger and their grandpa cooking burgers and on and on and on. And this little town in Texas and this place in New Mexico. And it just never ends. It's really cool.
Ray, from a time spent perspective, I'm sure there was an expectation of how much time you were going to be in the restaurant. Are you in there more than you expected or not as much? Not saying that you have a preference one way or the other, but how are you finding it?
Well, there was a contractual number, and I expected I would probably do double that, and I'm probably doing 4 times that.
Really?
Yeah, it's right by my house. I enjoy being in there. I really care about it. I feel like I add some value. I don't do a lot of actual work around there. Frankly, Lee has taken a lot of problems off my plate. The idea was that I would be working with Lee to get things to happen the way I like them to happen, and frankly, he's doing such a good job. Every day I look at what he's doing and I just say, you're good. I'll walk away. So that's been pretty easy, but I find that I can really have a nice impact by just talking to the guests. The guests really think it's cool that I'm there. A lot of them don't know that I've been living in St. Petersburg for years, and they think it's pretty cool. Even if they didn't know me before, they see this face on the restaurant, and that's kind of cool, but they don't expect that I would actually be there. So I really feel like I can help by doing that. So it's kind of fun. And I bust tables a lot. When they get busy, I don't mind carrying a bunch of dirty dishes into the kitchen. It's an easy way for me to help out. And I think it helps morale too. I think everybody thinks it's cool. And it's a nice place. I really don't mind hanging out there. The only problem is when I'm there, I'm working. It's really hard to go sit down for dinner. I had, Dr. Evil, Gary Craig from England was in the other day with Griff, who works for Whiskey Bent, and those guys were in the other day. And I would have liked to sit down and just have lunch with them, but I just can't. I get pulled here, I get pulled there, so I'm kind of bouncing around. So when I'm there, I'm working, but I really enjoy it. So it's been a lot more than I expected.
Would you write a book about opening a restaurant?
At some point I would imagine we will, just to have swag to sell at the restaunt. We don't have a lot right now. We will. So I would imagine a book will happen down the road. I mean, the opening the restaurant, it was really a team effort. I mean, I couldn't have done it. There's no way even close that I could have open a restaurant like we have. So It'd be hard to write about all that opening because it was a lot of it I did wasn't even involved in because I travel and I come back and sandwich day happened when I wasn't there. It's fine. The sandwiches we have are great. I'm happy with it. I mean, it's a great team. So it'd be hard to really write about the opening unless we all did it together. It'll probably be more about the menu and the road trips we did ahead of time and what our thinking was, to create it's a different kind of barbecue restaurant. I don't know if you've looked at the menu. It's not typical.
Do you have fried chicken, Ray?
Do we have what?
Do you have fried chicken?
No, we were going to. We had it on the menu, for a long time. When it started getting close, we realized we were probably short on fryer space because we're making house-made hand-cut French fries, and that takes a lot of time. And we're frying nachos, our pork rind nachos, and we realized we weren't going to have enough fryer space without doing something drastic, so we pulled it. But my guess is at some point we will. We would like to. It's just a matter of, we needed to get our feet under us, and we're doing pretty good now. I suspect when, a year or two down the road, we get bored with everything, you'll see some fried chicken.
Ray Lampe joining me here on the show for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Ray, switch it up a little bit here. We'll talk a little competition this coming weekend. KCBS is having their highly touted World Invitational Barbecue Championship in tropical Little Rock, Arkansas. Weather looks to be a balmy 43 degrees there this coming weekend at the moment. So not the worst temperature I've ever seen, but not 65 or better either. And I seem to recall that you mentioned that you were either sign up to cook or sign up to judge or do something along the lines there. So what's on the agenda for this weekend?
Yeah, I haven't cooked one in a long time. I haven't retired. I'll certainly cook again one of these days, but judging's kind of more what I'm doing these days. So I did sign up to judge because I've been a KCBS member since 1991. I'm member number 938 or something like that. This has been a big part of my life. Gary Wells was a friend of mine. I mean, I just been around it forever. So the fact that KCBS is finally going to do their own thing, I thought that was really cool. So I signed up to judge right away and plan to go. And I'm looking forward to it. I am going. I sort of forgot, though. It's like 80 here,
every day.
Yeah, I live in Florida and it's
Right.
80, and I'm thinking, what am I doing going to Little Rock? I've got to find my long pants and get them out and wear them. And I kind of wish I don't know. I don't want to beat up on them, but man, who was thinking that February in Little Rock was a good idea? Now, I just learned today that the judging will be indoors, so that's nice. But gosh, wouldn't it be nicer if we were somewhere warm? Maybe they should have came down here and done it where it's 80. But I'm going, and we'll have a good time. Looking forward to it.
I think the idea was to have it like centrally located, but I think some of those places at this time of the year, centrally located, can be also centrally freezing your ass off.
Yeah, well, last time I looked, it was going to be 45 for a high on Saturday and 29 overnight the night before. I mean, it's not going to make for a very good Friday night party.
Ray Lampe joining me here on the show. Do you want to run through a couple Facebook questions here, Ray?
Yeah, sure. I didn't see them, so this is a surprise to me.
All right, this one is from Jason Baumgartner. What happens if you completely remove all surface fat from a brisket before cooking?
It'll be dry.
Real barky, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't do that.
At all?
No, remove all the fat. Why would you do that? It's a brisket. There isn't a whole lot of internal fat. I don't care what you buy, so you need that outside fat, and plus it tastes good. It's funny. It's one of the things that we battle with at the restaurant all the time. We try to leave a nice little layer of fat on the brisket and the pastrami, and then sometimes we slice both muscles. Sometimes you get a little fat in between. And some people love us for that, and others freak out about it and think that there shouldn't be any fat at all. So it's a constant battle in my life. But no, man, you got to have some fat on a brisket. I don't know why. I don't know why you would do that. It makes no sense to me.
All right, next question from Brian Oliver. Of any, and this might kind of parlay into this coming weekend as you're judging, which team competing currently would you most like to judge or sample, and why?
Oh man, I'm so out of touch of it. I just don't know some of the top teams anymore. I'm not that into it. Darren, how about Darren and Sherry? Those guys are old friends of mine. I'd sure like to see what he's doing and eat some of it in the inside.
Joel Engelbert wants to know what your most epic fail was.
I once tried to make some pineapple horseradish chicken for a cookbook recipe. I thought it sounded like a pretty
That
good
sounds
idea.
okay.
It was horrible, man. It was bad. I once soaked my ribs in Mountain Dew at a barbecue cook-off the night before, and actually won. So
Really?
I would have thought that was going to be an epic fail. It's a different world now, though. That wouldn't win these days.
Mike Schilling wants to know, how about them Bears? Not bad, Ray. Not bad. Not bad.
No, it was a great year. It was a drag to lose like that at the end, but it was a great year, and they'll be back next year. They got a bunch of all their players are all signed for another couple of years, and they're in a good place.
Was it a drag of a Super Bowl in your estimation? I thought it was kind of boring.
No, I liked it. I didn't hate it. I mean, I'm a Bears fan. I like defense. I think it wasn't like these guys were sucking. They were just playing good defense. I didn't hate it. I mean, it's not like 35-35, one of them kind of games,
Yeah.
but no, I didn't think it was a bad game at all, frankly. I think nobody expected that they were both going to play such good defense, but don't ever count Belichick out. Everybody's waiting to see what he's going to do on offense. They forgot he also plays defense pretty well, and they really snuffed the Rams.
This coming weekend, you can find Ray Lampe judging at the World Invitational Barbecue Championship. So if you're around town and you're going to be stopping in there, you might see Ray there, catch a glimpse, say hi, sign an autograph, take a picture, all that good stuff. He's happy to do it. Otherwise, find him at drbbq.com and find him here on the first Tuesday of the month. Ray, always appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, Greg. See you later.
You got it. There he is, Ray Lampe, on his way to Little Rock, Arkansas for the World Invitational Barbecue Championship.